My fiancée demanded. Lose 40 pounds before the wedding, or I'm finding someone who takes care of himself. I'd gained weight during kidney dialysis. I said, I'll work on my health. Then I ended the engagement, started recovery, and lost the weight on my own terms. When she saw my transformation photo go viral on Instagram, original post, I, 32 male, was diagnosed with chronic kidney disease when I was 28. Stage 4, the kind where your nephrologist looks at your labs and goes quiet for a second before explaining what comes next. What came next was dialysis, hemodialysis, 3 times a week, 4 hours a session. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I sat in a recliner with tubes running out of my arm while a machine did the job my kidneys had quit doing. I'm not going to write a medical memoir here, but you need to understand what dialysis does to a body. It keeps you alive. It also wrecks you. The fatigue is constant. Your appetite goes weird. Some days you can't eat. Some days you're ravenous. And the fluid restrictions and dietary rules make everything complicated. I gained about 38 pounds over the first year and a half of treatment. Some of that was fluid retention. Some of it was prednisone from earlier treatment attempts. Some of it was just eating garbage because when you're that tired and that depressed, a Winnie's Baconator at 10 p.m. feels like the only good thing left in the day. Before I got sick, I was 185 at 5 feet 11 inches. Not ripped, just normal. By the time the dialysis became routine, I was sitting around 223. My face was puffy. My clothes didn't fit. I looked different and I knew it. I wasn't in denial about it. I just didn't have the bandwidth to care because I was trying not to die. My fiancée and I had been together for 4 years. Engaged for one. We met through mutual friends, fell hard, moved fast. She was with me when I got the diagnosis. She came to my first dialysis session and held my hand and cried in the parking lot after. I thought she was the one. I told people she was the one. For a while, she acted like it. The weight became an issue about 8 months into dialysis. At first, it was subtle. She'd buy me healthy snacks without asking. She'd suggest we go for walks when I could barely stand up after session. She'd leave her phone open to fitness influencer reels where she could see them. Passive stuff. Annoying but ignorable. Then it got direct. She started making comments. You look really swollen today. That shirt doesn't fit anymore, does it? I just want you to be healthy. And I get it. On paper, some of those sound like concern. But context matters. When a man is sitting on the couch with dialysis port bruises on his arm and his fiancée is looking at him like he's let himself go, that's not concern. That's disappointment wearing a costume. 6 months before the wedding, we booked a venue. She'd bought a dress. She sat me down one evening after I got home from session. I was exhausted. I'd been nauseous for most of the treatment. I was drinking the specific amount of water I was allowed and counting the milliliters because that's what my life had become. She looked at me and said, I need you to lose 40 pounds before the wedding. I stared at her. She kept going. I'm serious. I've been supportive. I've been patient. But I'm not walking down the aisle next to someone who doesn't take care of himself. My dress is gorgeous. The photos are going to be important. And right now you look like a different person than the one I said yes to. I'm on dialysis. I know you're on dialysis. But other people on dialysis manage their weight. I looked it up. There are renal diets. There are ways to stay active during treatment. You're not even trying. I'm trying to stay alive. Don't be dramatic. You're stable. The doctors said you're stable. Stable means you have room to work on yourself. And if you can't do that, if you can't put in the effort for our wedding, then maybe I need to find someone who takes care of himself. She said that to a man on dialysis. Maybe I need to find someone who takes care of himself. Like I was skipping the gym to play video games instead of sitting in a medical facility 3 times a week getting my blood filtered by a machine. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just felt something detach, like a cable disconnecting quietly inside my chest. I looked at her and said, I'll work on my health. She smiled, patted my knee, said, that's all I'm asking, babe. Then went to the bedroom to look at wedding Pinterest boards. I sat on the couch for a long time after that. I thought about the parking lot after my first dialysis session. I thought about her crying and holding my hand and saying, we'll get through this together. And I thought about the word together and how it apparently came with a weight limit. The next morning, I called the venue and asked about their cancellation policy. We put down a $3,500 deposit, non-refundable if canceled within 6 months of the date. We were 5 months out. I was going to lose that money. I canceled anyway. Then I called my buddy from college, the one friend who'd shown up to every single dialysis session he could make, who brought me Gatorade Zero and bad movies on a laptop and sat with me for 4 hours without complaining. I told him what happened. He was quiet for a second, then said, "I'll come get the ring whenever you're ready." I told my fiancée that evening. She was cooking dinner, some quinoa bowl she'd started making pointedly, like my meals were now auditions. I sat at the table and said, "I canceled the venue today. I'm ending the engagement." The spatula stopped moving. She turned around slowly. "What? You told me to lose 40 pounds or you'd find someone else. I'm making it easy for you. Go find someone else." I didn't mean it like that. I was trying to motivate you. You threatened to leave a man on dialysis because he gained weight from the treatment, keeping him alive. That's not motivation. That's an ultimatum. And I don't negotiate with ultimatums. You're seriously canceling our wedding because I asked you to be healthier? I'm canceling our wedding because you looked at me hooked up to a machine 3 times a week and decided the problem was my waistline. She started crying. Hard. I sat there and waited. When she caught her breath, she said, "You can't just make this decision without me. You made a decision without me when you set a condition on marrying me. I'm just responding to it." I asked for the ring back. She refused that night. I told her I'd give her a few days. I slept on the couch. The next morning, I packed a bag and went to stay with my college buddy. I left the apartment, which was hers, lease in her name, and took only what was mine. 3 days later, she mailed the ring to my buddy's address. No note, just the ring in a padded envelope. I sold it later for about $2,800 on a ring I'd paid $4,600 for. Took the hit. Moved on. Update 1, 3 weeks later. So I moved out of her apartment and into my buddy's spare room. Not glamorous, but he wouldn't let me pay rent for the first month, and I owe him more than I can calculate at this point. The week after I moved out, my ex, I'll call her that now, went through the standard phases. Day 1, angry texts. "You're throwing away 4 years because you can't handle honesty." Day 2, sad texts. "I miss you. I didn't mean it. Can we talk?" Day 3, strategic texts. "I told my parents. They think you're making a huge mistake. My dad wants to call you." Her dad did call me. He's an okay guy. Retired, pretty traditional. He said, "Son, marriages require compromise. She was just trying to help you." I told him what she actually said, the exact word about finding someone who takes care of himself. He got quiet. I think the version she told her parents was significantly edited. He said, "I didn't know she said it like that." I said, "Most people don't because she's good at editing." Her mom was a different story. Her mom texted me. She had my number from years of holiday coordination and said, "You're a sick man who just lost the best thing in his life. No other woman is going to sign up for what you come with. You should be grateful she stayed this long." I read that text about 5 times. Not because it hurt. It did initially, but because it explained everything. The entitlement didn't come from nowhere. Her mother literally thought that my illness made me lucky to have her daughter. Like my kidney disease dropped my relationship market value, and I should be thankful anyone would tolerate me. That's the house she grew up in. That's the math she was taught. I didn't respond to her mom. I blocked the number. I responded to her dad with a simple, "I respect you, sir, but this is final." And I told my ex in one last text, "I wish you well. Please don't contact me again." She did not honor that request. Now let me tell you about the recovery part, because that's where this story actually starts to turn. 2 months after the breakup, I got the call. My nephrologist's office. A kidney had become available. I'd been on the transplant list for 14 months. The match was good. I needed to come in immediately. I called my buddy. He drove me to the hospital, doing about 15 over the speed limit. I texted my mom. She booked a flight. I went into surgery at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday night and came out at 4 a.m. Wednesday with a working kidney. The recovery from a transplant is its own journey, and I won't bore you with all of it. But here's the relevant part. Once the new kidney started working, really working, things changed fast. The fluid retention started dropping. The fatigue lifted week by week. My appetite normalized. My face depuffed. I started being able to walk without feeling like I was dragging a weighted blanket behind me. Within 3 months of the transplant, I'd lost 22 pounds. Not from dieting, not from some punishment routine, just from having a functioning organ. My body did what it was always trying to do once it had the equipment to do it. I was eating the renal-friendly diet my transplant team prescribed, walking daily because I finally had the energy, and sleeping through the night for the first time in 2 years. By month 5 post-transplant, I was down 35 pounds, almost back to my pre-diagnosis weight. I looked different. I felt different. Not just physically. Something in my face had changed. The puffiness was gone, but it was more than that. I looked like someone who'd been through something and come out the other side. My buddy told me I looked like myself again, but upgraded. I told him to never say upgraded to me again, but I knew what he meant. Now here's where Instagram enters the picture, and I want to be clear about how this happened, because people are going to assume I did it for attention or revenge. I didn't. My transplant team has an Instagram account. They post patient stories, recovery milestones, organ donation awareness stuff. My transplant coordinator asked if I'd be willing to share a before and after photo for their page. Before, a photo from about 2 months into dialysis, swollen, gray, sitting in the treatment chair. After, a photo from my 5-month post-transplant checkup, healthier, lighter, standing in the clinic hallway smiling. I said yes because organ donation awareness is genuinely important, and I owe my life to someone's family making the hardest decision imaginable. This wasn't about me looking good. It was about showing people what transplant can do. The post went up on a Thursday. The Transplant Center has about 12,000 followers. By Friday morning, the post had 40,000 likes. Someone with a big following in the chronic illness community shared it. Then a fitness account shared it with the caption, "This is what real transformation looks like." Then a news account picked it up. By Saturday night, it had over 200,000 likes, and it was being shared on Twitter and Facebook and TikTok. I was tagged in the post. My personal Instagram, which had like 300 followers, mostly friends and family, got flooded. I gained about 4,000 followers in 3 days. People were mailing me their own kidney stories, their transplant stories, their dialysis stories. It was actually incredible and overwhelming, and I cried twice, which I'm not ashamed of. My ex saw the post. Of course she did. It was everywhere. She didn't reach out immediately, but her best friend did. Her best friend DM'd me on Instagram. "You look amazing." She's been crying all day. "I hope you're happy." I didn't respond, but I'll be honest, I wasn't happy. I wasn't unhappy either. I was just a guy with a new kidney who was finally not exhausted all the time. The post wasn't about her. The weight loss wasn't about her. The transformation was about surviving. She just happened to be watching. Update 2, 10 days later. Last update. I need to wrap this up because I'm tired of living in this story, and I want to start living in the next chapter. But something's happened that I think you all deserve to hear. After the Instagram post went semi-viral, my life got briefly weird. I had a couple of local news outlets reach out, wanting to do a patient story segment. I did one interview, a short thing for a local morning show about organ donation. They focused on the medical journey, the transplant, the recovery. But you didn't mention my ex. I didn't mention my ex. It was about the kidney. But here's what I didn't control: the internet. People in the comments of the original viral post had started speculating about my story. Someone who apparently knew someone who knew my ex had commented something like his fiancée left him because of the weight gain. That comment got hundreds of replies. It wasn't accurate. I left her, she didn't leave me, but the narrative took on its own life. Suddenly, I was the guy whose fiancée dumped him for being sick, and then he got better. A redemption arc I didn't write and couldn't edit. My ex apparently got wind of this narrative, probably because people who knew her were sending it to her, and she did not take it well. She broke the no contact, called me from her work number because I'd blocked her cell. I picked up, not recognizing the number. "You need to correct this," she said. "No, hello. Correct what?" "The story people are telling. That I left you because you were sick. You left me, and I didn't leave you because of dialysis. I asked you to take care of your health. That's it. You told me to lose 40 pounds or you'd find someone else. While I was on dialysis. That's what happened. You're letting people think I abandoned a sick person. I haven't told anyone anything. I did one interview about organ donation. The internet did the rest. I'm not your PR department. We need to fix it because people from my work are seeing this. Someone in my office sent me the post and asked if the fiancé in the comments was me. Do you understand how that looks? I understand how it looks. It looks like the truth. I'm sorry that's inconvenient. She hung up on me. I went back to watching TV. 2 days later, her mother called. From a new number because I'd blocked the old one. This woman has the persistence of a telemarketer. You've turned our family into a joke, she said. Ma'am, I posted a medical recovery photo. Your daughter's name isn't on it. Nobody would know she was involved if the people in her own life weren't connecting the dots. You did this on purpose. You lost the weight just to humiliate her. I actually laughed. Out loud. On the phone. I lost the weight because I received an organ transplant. A stranger died, and their family donated their kidney to me. That's why I lost the weight. Your daughter isn't a factor in my medical recovery. You're cruel. Your daughter told a man on dialysis that he was too fat to marry. And you told me I should be grateful she stuck around. I think our definitions of cruel are different. She hung up. I blocked the new number. Now here's the part that hit hardest, and it didn't come from her or her family. About a week after the viral post, I got a long DM from a woman I didn't know. She found me through the transplant center's post. She told me that she was in a relationship with a man who had been diagnosed with lupus 2 years ago. He gained weight from the steroids. His hair had thinned. He was exhausted all the time. And she said her friends kept telling her she should leave, that she was too young and pretty to be a caretaker. She said my post made her feel like the right thing to do was stay. She said watching me recover reminded her that the person she loved was still in there, under the swelling and the exhaustion, and he just needed time and a functioning body to come back. I read that message sitting on my buddy's couch at midnight, and I cried for the third time since this whole thing started. Because that is what the post was supposed to be about. Not revenge, not a glow-up, not making my ex feel bad. It was about showing people that the body you see during illness isn't the permanent version. That recovery is possible, that the person is still there. I wrote her back and told her she was doing an incredible thing and that her partner was lucky. I'm in it. Okay. The practical aftermath. My ex's professional situation wasn't destroyed. I want to be clear about that because I'm not going to pretend I blew up her life. What happened was much more mundane and honestly more fitting. A few of her coworkers saw the viral post and the comments. A few of them made the connection. It became one of those office whisper things. Not a scandal, just a story people told at happy hour. Did you hear about her ex? The kidney guy. She wasn't fired. She wasn't demoted. She was just known for something she didn't want to be known for. And in a world where she curated every detail of her image, her outfits, her Instagram, her personal brand, being known as the woman who gave her sick fiancé a weight loss ultimatum was its own kind of consequence. Through the mutual friend grapevine, I heard she'd started telling people a revised version, that we'd grown apart during the health crisis, and that the breakup was mutual, sanitized, palatable, missing the 40-pound ultimatum entirely. I didn't correct it. I didn't need to. The people who mattered knew the truth, and the people who didn't weren't my concern. The ring money, the $2,800 I got from selling it, went toward my first and last month's rent on a studio apartment. It's small. It's mine. My buddy helped me move in, and we ordered Thai food and sat on the floor because I didn't have a couch yet and ate pad CEW out of the container. He said, "You went from dialysis to your own apartment with a working kidney in under a year. That's insane." I said, "Don't make it a motivational poster." He said, "Too late. Already writing it on a pillow. The $3,500 venue deposit I lost? Gone. I'm not getting it back. That's the tax I paid for taking too long to see what was in front of me. I made peace with it. I'm sitting in my studio apartment. It's a Wednesday night. I had a checkup today, and my creatinine levels are stable. My transplant team is happy. I'm happy. I take 21 pills a day, immunosuppressants, blood pressure meds, vitamins, and I will take them for the rest of my life. Every morning, I line them up on the counter, and I swallow them one at a time, and I think about the person whose kidney is inside me and the family who said yes during the worst moment of their lives. I weigh 191, 6 pounds more than my pre-diagnosis weight. But my doctor says that's healthy and normal and to stop checking the scale. I'm trying. I don't have a dramatic final scene to give you. No moment where my ex showed up at my door and saw the new me and collapsed in regret. That's not how real life works. She's out there living her life. I'm in here living mine. The Venn diagram of our existences no longer overlaps, and that's the best outcome I could have asked for. The last thing I'll say is this. When she told me to lose 40 pounds, she thought she was setting the terms of our relationship. She thought my body was a negotiation and the wedding was the leverage. She didn't account for the possibility that I'd walk away from the table entirely. People who issue ultimatums usually don't. They're so used to being the one with options that they forget the other person has them too. I had options. I just needed a working kidney to exercise them. Thanks for reading. Sign your donor cards. Tell the people you love that they're enough. And if someone makes your illness about their inconvenience, leave. You're already fighting the hardest fight of your life. You don't need a referee counting the rounds against you from your own corner. Later.